A very good morning to you too, Kimberly. And I have some friends, very good people, fund the feeding of the ducks there.
Oh, lovely.
So they're back in England for a while. Then to return here in March, I think.
So we are continuing our journey on the masked duck today.
Yes, since our screening last week of the mini duck, people have asked for Laurie in the 24 to 48 hours that we had before we released her. So I'd taken a variety of pictures of her, and I want to show them now. We placed her in a large plastic storage container without the top on, like you use for chicken pens, but it was made of plastic. So we put that over the top, and we placed her in that in about 2 inches of water. And that's a picture of her looking down. And it's an interesting picture because it shows how these ducks, the feet splay out to the side. The feet are very far, placed very far back. So since they're diving ducks, and as they sit there, their feet kind of splay out. It also shows her tail quite nicely. And when I first put her in, I thought she seemed to be getting cold after a while. So I realized maybe she didn't want to sit in the water. So I put a little upturned pot, and for all the night, I put her there probably about 11 o'clock at night, and 4:30 the next morning when I got up, she was still sitting in the same place. So I guess she was rather cold. Just sitting in the water. You wouldn't think that would be, since she's a duck, but apparently she got cold. I saw her shivering and looking very uncomfortable, and she seemed very happy after we put her. Next picture shows a stripe that goes through her eye, and the stripe, and her dark gray to black bill. With the hint of green towards the base. This picture is of her tail. Laurie had a pull tail. Follow.
Doesn't it ever grow back?
Oh yes, it becomes like spikes, as we saw in the video, and then she sheds the spikes, and the tail comes out with new feathers.
Okay.
I particularly like picture for my good friend, and in full body in his hands, with the wing partially extended, showing the white wing patches. That is typical of the masked duck.
How big do these ducks grow to?
That's about it.
That's about it.
The males and the females are about the same, and that is it. You actually have it in your hand, and that was the fight and get on. Of course, she struggled a little bit at times, but once you held her carefully, she was just like a pet, really.
Amazing, amazing.
Our next picture shows a close-up of the wing with the white patch. She also has a white. Here's an image of Julian setting up to the release of the duck. I'm holding the duck there in the background. We're at the Hope Pond in St. Lucie, and Julian was getting everything ready so that we could capture it for the video that we made. And here I have our little Laurie in my hand, just about to release her. And the shirt that I have on is basically practice to the Good Samaritan Leslie Goodrich, who rescued Laurie. I'm sure she would have got run over by a car in the gas station where he found her. And then we actually see me about to put her in the pond. And she was getting anxious, but she was very, very calm. And as I put her in the pond, I just love this picture. She kind of looked back. She had her tail down. She kind of looked back as though she was saying, thank you for rescuing me and bringing me to somewhere that I can feel safe and happy again. It was a very touching moment. Angling up to swim, shaped herself, and then a few moments later we saw her diving. And then this was our last image of her before we left the pond. She was preening, and as they often do when they preen, they kind of jump up at her. And
Going back, what happens on the pond? Where do they nest?
well, that's a very good question. I was actually shocked. My wife said, but she seems to be cool, John. I said, but it's a duck. She's in water. So she said, maybe you need to get her out of the water. So I got a little pot in and put her on it, out of the water, onto the reeds and rushes. Now they also have to be wary doing that because there's always a mongoose waiting for an easy meal. So I'm sure several of them must end up, if they go on the edges of the pond, they must end up being a meal for the mongoose. Remember American duck. The ducks are South American ducks, and they're quite common throughout South America, particularly northern South America and Mexico as well. And with duck, although we stopped, she probably been flying for a long time, got tired, saw the lights and put herself down, almost into harm's way.
You talk about some of these locations around Barbados where you see a lot of birds. Talk to us about Hope Pond, St. Lucie. Where is that? And
Pond, Bees Church, and you're heading to that side as you're getting closer to River Bay.
And we miss these marvels across Barbados.
Well, we don't look. People ask me, well, are there birds in Barbados? Where are the birds? You just need to stop and look and listen, and there are birds all around us. And I say this almost every day to us. But Hope Pond is a kinds of bird life. Sometimes you see nothing. But with the arrival of the mass ducks there towards the end of last year, it was quite amazing because I'd never seen mass ducks in that pond. We always see them in Bayfield Pond, and we have a few slides coming up of Bayfield Pond. They were the only ducks had about half dozen coots, which is the common moorhen or common gallinule, and there are always some herons or egrets around. We have a picture up on the screen of the male duck. Is actually a striking individual. These were taken at the Hope in lorry there. This was the week before. We had seen 2 males and 4 females, and I had a whale of a time basically just observing them feeding and their courting behavior. This picture shows the male mass duck in the days no longer have their blue bills. That proves the point that the blue bills come out in their bright color when the ducks are breeding. So the breeding season is obviously over, and the males no longer have to attract the females. Hopefully, there has been some activity that's courting behavior hope upon.
I would imagine that you would catch that. And I want you to talk some more about that, but unfortunately we're out of time today, so we're gonna get to some of those other slides and look at some of those other pictures and continue our story about the masked duck next week.
With
We're
the
thinking of breakfast. All right, John Webster, good to see you as always. We're going to take a break here, and we're going to come back and talk about singing and rejoicing.